I swear, man, the wrestling world is filled with such idiots. Too many morons. I'm like, Twitter is so toxic when it comes to wrestling. That's why I'm not really on there. But I do search for stuff on there that bothers me. I do go on Twitter to keep myself updated on stuff when it comes to the world and wrestling in general. So I'm on Twitter. I'm seeing so many just cringe, a capital C, cringe. So much toxicity when it comes to the AEW shills. It's like, it's so pathetic. It's sad, man. It's like, it feels like they invented the word hypocrisy. They invented the word hypocrisy. Hell, I feel like AEW should change their name to All Elite Hypocrisy Wrestling. All Elite Hypocrisy Wrestling. That's what they should be called. You see, I saw some comments. I saw some tweets. I saw some threads from the AEW shills. But I also seen some people who are neutral. But hey, when you are neutral, you are called a shill for the WWE. Because we all know AEW is a fucking cult. Which I'm not a part of, homie. I'm not a part of any fucking cult. I'm a fucking grown-ass man. But I seen some people who are neutral, who were calling the bullshit out when it comes to these AEW shills. Let me dig a little bit. Let me dig more deeper. So every week these shills complain how bad the WWE is, right? They always complain how bad Raw is. They don't make no efforts on making a better show. Their show is boring. They make no effort. Okay, they made a fucking effort tonight. They made a fucking effort on this Raw. They had Reigns. They had the Bloodline. They had the New Day. They had Lashley. Bruh, Reigns is your biggest draw. Your second biggest draw is fucking Lashley. It's like, social media is an awful place. It's like everybody lives in a moment and they only remember what they want to remember to push their own agenda. So let me get this straight. They called it HOTSHOT booking, right? Which is an awful term that I hate hearing. They call it HOTSHOT booking, okay? To combat AEW, to combat football. No, bitch, it was to combat football, not AEW. Let's just squash that narrative. But HOTSHOT booking, what's the issue with that? If you're trying to make a great show, if you're trying to pop a rating, do whatever you can to pop that fucking rating. Book the best match possible. What's the problem? Make up your mind. Do you want Raw to make an effort or not? Raw, fucking Lashley, Big E, Reigns in the main event, non-title match? Nigga, they have matches on house shows. They brought their house show match to Raw. Why do you care? How is that HOTSHOT booking when these guys have been wrestling in house shows the past couple of days? How is it HOTSHOT booking? They brought it to fucking TV so it can draw some numbers. Wrestling is about drawing, putting on the best matches so you can draw in more viewers. Their competition is football. They gotta do whatever they gotta do to pop a fucking number, so football won't embarrass them. So let's get back to the definition of HOTSHOT booking. evidently, it damn seems like the only company in the history of wrestling who does hot shot booking is the fucking WWE when it comes to the shields of AEW. Let me get this straight. So what do you call Goldberg versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan? What do you call Goldberg versus Scott Hall? Remember? Don't you remember Scott Hall? Don't you remember Goldberg had to beat Scott Hall in order to face Hogan in the fucking main event at Nitro? What was that? Was that hot shot booking? What about Mankind versus The Rock for the world title in the late 90s on Raw, which popped a huge rating? What was that? Was that hot shot booking? What would you call that? Hell, I call it good booking, putting on good shows, trying to entertain your audience at home so they won't turn to fucking football. You have a job to do, which is put on good shows. It's crazy when the WWE puts on a good effort, when they try to put on a good effort. They still get shitted on by the shields of AEW. And no, I don't say nobody's name on my videos. I would never say another YouTuber's name on my videos. Ever. Ever. It's like they don't exist to me. Like, when it comes to the podcasting shields of AEW, I would never say their names on my channel. So don't ever expect that. Ever. Ever. And you know who I'm talking about when it comes to these AEW Shield podcasts on YouTube. Yeah, I would never say their names, ever. But the point is, they called Lashley, Big E, Roman Reigns hot shot booking. Really? But it was a fun, entertaining match. It made the show fun. It made the show watchable. It made the show watchable because it's a 3-hour show. They try to keep you watching so you won't turn to football. That's their job. They tried tonight. They tried to put on a good show. But all you care about is the AEW demo. You think they were combating AEW? You know what I was hearing? Oh, that's lazy booking. How's that lazy booking? You know what lazy booking is, bitch? Do you know what lazy booking is, you bitch? Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. That's the definition of lazy booking. So you are too lazy? You were too half-assed to want to slowly build up Bryan Danielson on the card weekly so he can earn a shot against your top champion, your top draw, your top wrestler in your company. Instead, put this in perspective. Let me tell you about the hypocrisies, right? So, Bryan Danielson, his last match was against two top guys at WrestleMania in the main event. His last match was against that company's top champion in the main event. Fast forward a couple of months later, he goes to a different company. His first match is against the top guy in the company. I don't care if it's not for the world title. That's irrelevant. He has no business against that company's top guy. He has no business wrestling Kenny Omega this early with no story, no build. If this was a WWE doing this shit, the Shields would say, why are you giving away this match so early with no build? But when AEW does it, it's fine. It's a dream match. What the fuck has Bryan Danielson, what has he done? What the fuck? Fucking Adam Cole has done more than him. Hell. Let's have Adam Cole challenge Miro now, huh? Let's have Adam Cole challenge Miro. If we are hot-shotting dudes, AEW has a reputation of hot-shotting ex-WWE talent. Jon Moxley came from the mid card. Hold on. Dean Ambrose came from the fucking mid card. And he was quickly elevated to challenging Chris Jericho, the world champion of AEW. Remember? Another ex-WWE guy being handed a shot at Chris Jericho. He was quickly hot-shotted into the main event scene against Chris Jericho. Months later, he became the AEW champion. A ex-WWE guy to another. That's not HOTSHOT booking? So basically, Bryan Danielson, he did what Ruby Soho did. Ruby Soho leapfrogs the whole AEW women's division by being handed the Casino Battle Royal win in her debut. Daniel Bryan is handed a big money main event match against AEW's top guy, their #1 world champion. He's handed a main event in his debut match just because he's a big ex-WWE name. Ain't that fucking hypocrisy? Nobody's complaining about that? What has he done to earn a shot at Kenny Omega? Why can't he be built up? Why are you handing your big signee the #1 top draw in your company, which is Kenny Omega, the #1 top guy in your company? You're just handing him Kenny Omega with no build this early? This dude hasn't had a match. His debut match is going to be at a big time show, which is basically a low-key pay-per-view on TV. It's basically a free pay-per-view. You are handing him a big money level match in his debut just because he's a big name from the WWE. That sounds like Bill Goldberg shit to me, don't it? Being handed big money main event matches without actually earning it. You fucking dumbasses complain about Goldberg for years. What's the difference between what's the difference between Bryan Danielson being handed Omega in his first match, the top guy, right away with no build? What's the difference between that and Bill Goldberg being handed Kevin Owens, the Universal Champion? What's the difference? What's the difference between that and Goldberg being handed The Fiend, being handed Brock Lesnar, being handed Roman Reigns, being handed Braun Strowman, being handed Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre? What's the difference between Bryan Danielson being handed Kenny Omega on a silver platter, AEW's world champion, in his debut match, a huge showcase match, which means he's basically leapfrogging Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage? He's leapfrogging the whole roster. Why can't Brian Cage get a match with fucking Kenny Omega? Huh? See, that's the shit Brian Cage is complaining about. You see what I'm saying? You are burying your mid-card guys who want a shot at Kenny Omega. You are handing Bryan Danielson the whole world right away because of his name. What's the difference between that and Brock Lesnar coming to SummerSlam and challenging fucking Roman Reigns? Brock Lesnar has been gone for a fucking year, you bitch. What has he done to earn a shot at Roman Reigns? But guess what? He's a big name. He's Brock Lesnar, right? He's a legend. Every time he comes back from fucking Canada, he's given main event matches because he's a big name, right? Don't that sound like Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega? What's the difference? Bryan Danielson literally challenged Kenny Omega to a match, to a big money match. Look at Brock Lesnar on fucking SmackDown. He literally challenged Roman Reigns to a match. What did Brock Lesnar do to earn that match, right? What's the difference? Bryan Danielson, he's basically Brock Lesnar. But that's getting ignored. Because he's not on WWE television. He's on AEW television, which means they get a hall pass for every fucking thing. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of your hypocrisy. Now, let's talk about Orange Cassidy versus Reggie. All the AEW shills hate Reggie. All the AEW Smart Mark podcasters on YouTube, you know their names. I hate them, by the way. They hate Reggie, right? They think he's a joke. They always say, get him off my television. He sucks. He's that. He's not a real wrestler. Get him out the ring. Look, homie. I would rather have Reggie on my television over Orange fucking Cassidy, who's a joke. At least Reggie is showing athleticism. At least Reggie is showing charisma. At least Reggie is trying to be entertaining. Right? Without actually wrestling. Right? At least he ain't putting his hands in his pockets and insulting the viewer's intelligence. At least he's not pinning Matt Hardy with his hands in his pockets. Which has buried Matt Hardy, by the way. I mean, I don't take him seriously. Who takes Matt Hardy seriously in 2021? I don't. I think he's a joke now. I think Matt Hardy is a fucking joke now in 2021. And I love Matt Hardy, but let's be honest. He has been buried in AEW. It's like, bro, Orange Cassidy, what's the difference? Don't tell me Reggie don't deserve to be on television, but you want Orange Cassidy to be on television? Reggie is better than Orange Cassidy, and guess what? I'm not a fan of Reggie like that. I mean, I like that he tries to be fun. I like that he tries to be fucking entertaining, but I'm not really a fan of him like that. But let's call a spade a spade. How can you find Orange Cassidy to be more entertaining than fucking Reggie? Reggie is the Orange Cassidy of the WWE. Let's talk about another hypocrisy. If Orange Cassidy never stepped foot in AEW, let's say he went to the WWE. Let's be honest, he would be a 24/7 champion, and the same AEW Shield podcasters, they would say, get Orange Cassidy off of my television. He sucks. He's a joke. He keeps being chased around by Tozawa and R-Truth. You see what I'm saying? It's like, once you step foot in AEW, you walk on water. You can do anything. Look, if Orange Cassidy took a shit in the ring with his hands in his pockets, the crowd will give him a huge pop. That's how cult-like that audience is in AEW. They could do anything. They defend anything. They defended Powerhouse Hobbs getting buried by Orange Cassidy in my fucking comment section. Like fuck you, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's like, take your cult shit somewhere else. I ain't no cult. I ain't no follower. I follow my own lead. See, that's the hypocrisy. How is Orange Cassidy cooler than Reggie? Let me tell you something. I would take Reggie in a real fight against Orange Cassidy. Reggie can probably beat the shit out of Orange Cassidy in a real fight. Let's just be honest. But y'all take Orange Cassidy seriously. But y'all don't take Reggie seriously? Nigga, Orange Cassidy is the Reggie of AEW, man. Don't you understand? He's a comedy joke act like Reggie. What's the difference? So it's bad. It's kitty shit in the WWE, but it's not kitty shit in AEW when a skinny, pale white guy puts his hands in his pockets and wrestles like that. That's not a joke to you. That's not 24/7 championship material. Putting your hands in your pockets as you're wrestling. Okay, you see what I'm saying? See, today I'm pointing out the hypocrisy. Omega and Daniel Bryan is the definition of hot shot booking. One-on-one. So let me get it straight. AEW doesn't do anything on the show to pop a fucking rating? If that's the case, they shouldn't be on TV then. How is TNT happy with them if, allegedly, they don't do hot shot booking to pop a fucking rating? Are you serious? Everybody does that. What's the problem? Your job is to book the best television show possible. Book your best talent possible. Put on compelling television. And that's what Raw did by putting Lashley, Big E, and Roman in the same match. It wasn't no titles on the line. Don't say that's lazy booking, because what is Daniel Bryan and Omega fighting about? After 2 weeks, no build, no story, what are they fighting over? Pride? That's awful. That's lazy. You can't build up Daniel Bryan for 2 months before his match with Omega? That's laziness. Huh? Yeah, how about that? That's not lazy? Oh, but Lashley, Big E, and Roman, that's lazy, huh? Oh, yeah, but Bryan versus Omega after 2 fucking weeks ain't lazy. Those 2 guys deserve a fucking build. But the Shields are not talking about that. They are just grabbing their fucking Vaseline and just imagining just jerking off to that match. That's all they care about. They care about the match. They don't care about the story. They care about the match. They don't care about the story. They don't care about storytelling. They don't care about storylines. All they care about is the fucking athleticism. All they care about is the match, the dream match. That's ridiculous. After 2 weeks, we barely know why Bryan Danielson is there. We barely know what his character is after 2 weeks, and he's already facing Omega, their top guy? With no build, no story, how can you tell me that's not hot shot booking? And allegedly, their card is supposedly loaded. So how is that not hot shot booking? Daniel Bryan is in the main event. So let me get it straight. Daniel Bryan's last 2 matches in wrestling has been against 2 world champions in 2 different companies. How is he not Brock Lesnar? You're saying he's not Brock? He ain't Goldberg? Because Goldberg, he gets handed world title shots. Brock Lesnar, he gets handed world title shots because of his name value. Bryan Danielson came from a company where he was pretty over, where he was a legend. And you're just handing him a top main event match in his debut on your show. So people always like to bring up, how can you book Lashley, Big E, and Reigns in the same match? They always say none of them can lose. You are supposedly booking yourself into a corner. They all can't lose. Yeah, Daniel Bryan and Omega would like to have a fucking word with your ass. Who can lose that match? Who's going to lose? Omega can't lose. Bryan can't lose. So you're saying that match is not being booked into a corner? Those guys can't lose. So what are you doing here? You're going to book Bryan to lose his first match? You're going to have Omega lose against an ex-WWE guy? Really? But you're not talking about that. You're not talking about the hypocrisy of that match where, those 2 guys can't lose, so why are they being booked right away so early? Oh yeah, by the way, nobody's talking about this. So Omega's last 2 matches have been against Christian Cage and fucking Bryan Danielson, 2 ex-WWE legends in the main event. Yeah, keep on ignoring the fact that I'm seeing ex-WWE legends leapfrogging AEW's homegrown talent in the main events. But you're not trying to pop a fucking rating? Huh? Why can't you book Cage? Why can't you book Brian Cage against Omega? Huh? Why can't you book Darby Allin against Omega? Why can't you book Jungle Boy against Omega? Those guys are semi-homegrown talent, Darby and Jungle Boy. But no, we are leapfrogging Daniel Bryan into the main event scene in his first match. Actually burying your whole roster. Because you feel like he's so good, he's so special, he has to be handed a main event match in his first match against the world champion. I don't care if the title is not on the line. That's not the point. He shouldn't be anywhere near a world champion. He should be worked up from the ground up like Adam Cole is. But no, he's being shoehorned into the main event because of his name value. How was that not parallel with what the WWE does with Brock and Goldberg and fucking Edge? Oh, but AEW is nothing but professional wrestling. They're not sports entertainment like the other company, huh? They do the opposite of what the WWE does, huh? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm done.